Today I'm going to show you how to do the image transfer technique. The best kind of images are ones that have really strong black lines and have closed off designs. So here are some great examples. If you haven't uploaded an example yet to the Google Drive, please do so today. Our finished project is a tile, and so we're practicing the image transfer process today. So to do this process, we're not using glaze, we're using engobe. Engobes are liquid colored clays. They're in these big white buckets, and they each have a scoop inside them. So you're going to scoop out a couple colors of engobe, except for black. We're not going to use black yet. You're going to need a practice paper. The practice papers are on my kick wheel underneath the screen. You're going to need a couple colors of engobe. You're going to need some tiny paint brushes and a little cup of water to clean your brushes. And you're going to transfer that design, whatever design you use, onto a slab of clay using a small roller. So you're going to start by painting the engobe inside the lines. And the nice thing about these print-offs that I have for you is that they've been printed on a printer where the toner has wax in it. So if you get a little bit of engobe on the black lines accidentally, it shouldn't stick, it shouldn't stay. The wax should kind of resist the engobe. So be careful, be neat with it, spread it, kind of like you're frosting a cookie is really kind of the idea behind the technique. Fill in all the designs, again, try to avoid the black lines. You can use multiple colors. It really doesn't matter what colors you use as long as you're not using black. You can use any of the other engobe colors that are in those buckets. So fill in all the spots. This is going to be practice for when you do it on the real piece of paper, which we won't do until Monday, so you have plenty of time to do it. Fill it all in. Sorry for that abrupt zoom out. All right, so when you have the whole thing covered, you're gonna have to pick it up really carefully. I'm using a needle tool here to pick it up, and you'll see how wet it is. So it needs to dry a lot. Like the engobe can't be shiny for you to move on to the next step. So that might take a good 5 to 8 minutes for your engobe to dry like this. See, this engobe is dry, it's not shiny anymore. The corners of the page are starting to curl up just a little bit. Now you're ready for the black. Now you have to use black. So you're going to take that black and you're going to use a fan brush like you see me using here. Fan brushes are the best for gently putting on a layer of color. And you're going to cover the whole thing, and you might find that the black will start to bead up and be resisted by that wax that's in the toner. I'm going to pick it up here and show you. See how the black engobe is not covering all the black lines? So you've got to do enough coats and kind of spread that engobe around really gently so you do cover all those black lines. It's really important that all the black lines, the whole sheet of paper, is covered with this layer of black engobe. So I'm using the needle tool again to pick up my paper. See how wet that is? So now you need to wait for that to dry. So that's going to be maybe 8 to 10 minutes. I wouldn't probably put it in front of the fan. Just let it dry naturally on its own. So here's black engobe that is dry. It's got a slight sheen to it, but it's dry. The corners are starting to curl up a little bit. That's a good sign. You don't want the corners to curl up all the way. Like that is too dry. The engobe will actually start flaking off if it gets too dry. So then you're going to place that little engobe sheet of paper on a small slab. The slab doesn't have to be perfect. You can run it through the slab roller at 1/4 of an inch. Use a roller to imprint and transfer the engobe from the paper onto the clay. And the black, which was your last layer that you painted, will end up being the underlying layer. And then the colors, which were the first layer that you painted, that will end up showing up on top of the black layer. So you have to be, I want you to be really picky about this. So I want you to transfer all the color onto the slab. You can see here, I've peeled back one corner and there are some big empty spots where the color has not transferred. So I'm checking it, and if it's not good, I'm putting it right back down again and I'm using the roller. If you really can't get it to transfer, use a little bit of a damp sponge to reactivate the engobe and get it to transfer. That should help a little bit. You can use your fingertip, but you don't want to saturate the paper with water. If you saturate the paper with water, you'll have a hard time peeling the paper up off of the slab. If your paper gets too saturated and you can't peel it off, put it in front of the fan for a little bit just to dry off that paper. So now you can see the black is underneath, and that's where your lines are showing. And then the color, which is on top, that's the areas that you painted in between the lines. So it's kind of really miraculous the way that this transfers so beautifully. So I'm just looking for areas that haven't transferred before I peel the whole thing off, because once you peel the whole thing off, you can't put it back on there. So you got to fix those areas as you go. You can see mine didn't peel off 100% correctly, so I'm just using a needle tool to peel off the rest of it. There was a big spot where it didn't transfer, so I'm going to wet that a little bit. And I want you to try and get the best possible imprint or transfer that you can. If your first time practicing doesn't work, try it again. I have plenty of these practice sheets. So once you have a good one, you're going to snap a picture, click, and then you're going to submit that on Schoology. That's worth 10 points, so I can see that you tried the technique. Now, you do not have to keep this. You can actually recycle it. Even though it has the colored engobe on it, you can recycle it with the other normal places that we recycle. But if you kind of like how it turned out, it could be kind of cool to use a cookie cutter and cut out the best part of your design and keep that cutout and fire that cutout. You wouldn't have to pay for it. I would just fire that for free for you. And so that could be fired, and when it is glazed, after you put clear glaze on top of it, you could make it into a magnet or some other kind of decorative thing. You could put a hole in it so it could hang. So that's optional though. Now, the other thing I'm going to have you do today, after you get your picture printed, you're going to draw your format around the picture. So I just happened to find the shape in the Foxy box, and you can see through it, so it's really easy to center it. But you can make your format be a square or a heart or a triangle or a circle or a star or whatever shape you want your tile to be. So whatever shape you cut out should kind of be harmonious with your design. It should give a good amount of space around your design. You don't want to cut out right up against your design, because we're actually going to put a little frame on this tile that you're making. And so then once you've cut out your paper, place it on top of a new slab, again, 1/4 of an inch thick, please. Cut with your needle tool, making sure to hold the needle straight up and down so you get a really nice clean edge all the way around. And then once you've cut out that base slab, that is the slab you're going to be printing your final design on Monday. That's as far as you're going to go for today. I don't think you have time to do a good job putting the engobe on your final design. So just get that slab cut and prepped and smoothed and ready to go. And then, because you don't have class again now until Monday, I want these to stay hydrated. So I would like you to do a damp paper towel on top of a tray, and then lay your slab on top of that damp paper towel, just to make sure that the tray that it's on doesn't absorb too much water out of your clay. And then slide the whole thing into a bag to keep it workable for Monday. We do need our clay to have some hydration in it to be able to make the engobe stick. Then put your picture on top of the wrapped up slab in your locker so that you can save that picture for Monday. All right, that's it. Thanks, guys. I hope you have a really fun time doing this image transfer technique. It's pretty magical. All right, go to it.